So myself and Davy Burke here with Enda Varley, and we're just here this evening to preview round 2 of the qualifier games this weekend. And we're going to go through first of all, Mayo v Kildare. Then we're going to go through Armagh and Donegal. Then we look at Roscommon and Clare. And finally, we'll have a quick look at Cork v Limerick. So just starting off with probably the biggest one in both of our houses this weekend, and that is the Mayo boys against the Lily Whites. And how do you, first of all, see this one going for us?
It'll be certainly interesting. I suppose the two teams are coming. Look, at Mayo are probably in a slightly better position from the result the last day. Kildare Dublin. It was disappointing for Kildare against Dublin. I thought they would have been putting up a better show than that. They just, was it the occasion that got to them? Was it the league win during the year, earlier on the year? Did they go into they certainly didn't go in overconfident, but they're, I think probably the management team probably got their tactics wrong in terms of the way they set up, definitely defensively. Even looking at, I just had a quick look at it today, and just Dublin absolutely was through Kildare, and if they do that again on Saturday night, Mayo will do the same thing to them. But can you put any reason behind it?
I think Kildare have a big balance issue in the team, and the shape of the team, the setup of the team. We're extremely attacking setup this year. Too attacking, I think, Enda myself for Division 1 football, and that's ultimately what happened. Kildare have brilliant players, and there's no they were made look ordinary, but the reason they were made look ordinary is because they left 30-40 meters in front of Conor Callaghan and Conor Costello, etc. And everyone, you just can't do that. And the likes of James Murray there playing centre back, right? He's an excellent player. James is really, really good player, but he's been sold down to Swanee here. Everyone talking about him now, but not being up to it. But the reason he's not up to it, he's no protection. You could put Seamus Moynihan, or the best six of all time, in that slot, and he'd be exposed. So for me, we've too many offensive-minded players on the field, and we're playing 6 out-and-out forwards. And what other top team in the country do you know to play 6 out-and-out forwards? It doesn't really exist. If you look at Kerry, that's where Kerry fell down last year. Paul Geaney was trying to chase after Conor Myler in a semi-final. Sure, it was never going to work. It was never going to work.
So Dave, sorry to cut across. Yeah. So are you telling me that basically that it's very it's very similar to Mayo, but Mayo at least try to get a wing back or a 6 to drop back in front of the D to cover that primary ball, getting into the full forward line. Kildare the last day against Dublin just seemed to me that it was just
man to man.
It was man to man, but not even that, David. It was there wasn't a man getting
passive
hit. Yeah, it was very passive. They literally walked by them. Who was it? I think Feely gave away a ball for the John Small goal, and they literally went right up the centre of the Kildare defence. Yeah. And I'm just thinking,
do you know the thing? And the big thing though, right? Westmeath done the same thing, right? And that's Westmeath we're talking about, who in a poor Division 3, they were mid-table in Division 3, right? And Westmeath ran straight through the Kildare defence for goal chances and scored 2-15 2 weeks earlier. So it wasn't as if we didn't know this was coming. It wasn't as if the management hadn't got the wake-up call here. They got their wake-up call. They conceded 2-15 against an average Division 3 team. And, we need to tighten this up. And again, for me, they had loads of bodies back. Kildare, not early on against Dublin. Against Westmeath, they had loads of bodies back. And it was just the wrong people. Yourself, I don't know you that well, but forwards, some certain forwards, they're not the biggest tacklers in the world. They're not the the greatest. That's not generally their main thing, their go-to when they're on the field, right? And so they had 12, 13 bodies behind the ball, but they were the wrong men. That's not their interest. They weren't interested in tackling. Of course, it was passive. I don't want to do this. That kind of because we've 6 forwards, out and out forwards, and 2 bombing wing backs on the same field at the same time. Of course, we're leaving ourselves exposed. And when we do get bodies back, they don't want to do it,
Yeah, but David, I'll kick back on you there, as in, they'll be getting the curly finger. Obviously, as a forward, your main instinct is to, get on the ball and try and score here. But if that's coming from the top down, that kind of attitude is in, I know from my days with Mayo, you're, if you didn't tackle, you'd be sitting on the pine after 5 minutes. So it has to be, that has to be a culture thing within the Kildare setup.
It is a culture. It's an absolute culture thing. But I seen lads As far as I'm aware now, the same 15. Ryan Houlihan was the only one to come in against Dublin. He was injured. He would have started against Westmeath. He wasn't available. As far as I'm aware, it was the same 14 that started against Westmeath with Dublin. But like going by your take, and I absolutely agree with you, and it's absolutely fundamental in all of my teams. You must tackle, you must turn the ball, you must do what, get contact on, whatever it might be. But clearly that isn't one of the main things for this team of priorities, because it was happening against Westmeath. If I was happening against Westmeath, changes should have been made then, surely. Or surely there should have been an uncomfortable video review to say, right, lads, this man coasted by you there, straight up our 6, when we 13 behind the ball. How would that happen? Why did that happen? I'm going to bring in Johnny the next day to make sure that doesn't happen. Johnny, this is your job. Make sure this happens. You know, that kind of way. And that's how you build it.
And I look at, you know, the Kildare setup more than me now, and obviously I know the Mayo setup a bit more. Like, but do Kildare have a good squad? Like, is there players there, the second 15? Are they pushing the first 15 on? Like, I know with James's mantra, the younger guy will always get the benefit of the doubt over the older guy. It doesn't matter a shite if you're 10 years playing with Mayo. It doesn't matter what can you do for me in 2022. So is that mantra there in Kildare, or is the first 15? Are you telling me, David, that there's going to be 13 guaranteed starters and that's it? Because if that's the case, that's an absolute, it's like a virus going through the team, going through the whole setup.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I'm not involved there, so I don't know. Is there depth? Absolutely, there's depth. Does Kildare have a wide range of good players, and particularly forwards at the minute? We have a wide range of forwards, but again, like I said to you, the issue we have is we're playing 6 of them. We should be playing 4 of them and leaving the other 2 or 3 to come off the line. That's the issue we have.
But when you're saying playing 6 forwards, we'll say for the opposition kick out, we'll say the next day for Mayo's kick out, Robbie Henley has the ball. For Kildare's kick out, where is the 2 wing forwards? Where are they standing? Are they standing in the wing half forward spots? Are you telling me there's a 3-man full forward line?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They play a 3-man inside line in general. Kerwin, Dan, and Jimmy will be inside, I'd imagine, or maybe Neil Flynn if he comes in. Will be inside-ish. Maybe one at the top of the D. Maybe a diamond. You know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. But sure, the wing forwards are constantly like surely they're like midfielders now.
No. Like, you see, this is where the issue kind of is. I feel in that Paul Cribben sees himself as an 11. Alex Byrne sees himself as an 11. And at the minute, neither of them are where Ben McCormack is. He's streets clear of every Kildare forward at the minute, just on his form today. So they're behind him in the pecking order. So the manager seems to have picked them 10 and 12 to accommodate them. Whereas in my book, you know, why not look at, you know, Fergal Conway 12? Why not look at Dara Ryan 10? Why not look at Con Kavanagh? Why not look at, you know, Kevin O'Callaghan maybe there to push Kevin Flynn to midfield? It's a balance thing, and it's purely bad. Look at what Galway have done. They brought in Johnny Heaney and they've brought in Finian O'Lee, 10 and 12. And now all of a sudden, Jesus, Galway look fairly defensively secure after being wide open the whole league. So, you know, Roscommon are going to be caught. We'll talk about this later. Roscommon are going to be caught with Heenahan, and I can't think of the other fella. Is it Murtagh playing the other wing? Heenahan and the other, right, are playing 10 and 12. That's fine against Clare. That's fine against, you know, the Sligos of this world. You'll be caught when you come up against Division 1 opposition, and they were against Galway. So, in this day and age, Enda, 3 to 4 forwards is the max you can have up there, you know, and the rest are transition players, are workers. Now, don't get me wrong, they should be chipping in with 1 or 2 points, and particularly, you know, all that type of stuff. But I just think the balance is off here, and that's what's costing us, you know.
Hold on, I've got comments coming in here. Is this Horan's last chance for Mayo? Rory Gallagher would be a great choice for manager for Mayo next year, as he can only go so far with Jerry. Jerry could get to an All-Ireland final this year. Right, we'll probably move on to Mayo. Is this Horan's last chance? I would say it is. If Mayo lost to Malin the last day, he would have been gone. I would say personally.
One thing on that end, he has a couple of more years on the contract, this GEA contract. You know,
who has Horn?
I think he does. Does he?
Yeah.
I think he does.
No, I think not. Is it? No, I think his contract is up this year.
All right. Because he just strikes me now. He strikes me as the type of man that won't go handy now.
Yeah, well, he's. But this is the thing, Davey. He's, in fairness to him, right? There's enough of a sample size there to say he's 8 years in the job, 4 years the first stint, 4 years the second stint. Now, if he hasn't got the job done at this stage, the sample size is large enough to suggest that he won't get the job done. He's a kind of prisoner of his own high standards, as in he's obviously created. And personally, my view would be Horn coming in the second stint was good for Mayo football. I know obviously 2 All-Ireland losses, but to transition that team over the way he's done, I don't think many managers in the country could have done that. And to compete, you're talking 19. Dublin gave us a fair clipping in the All-Ireland final, and that was the kind of last. He gave the older lads, the last kind of hurrah. Right, if you don't get it done this year, lads, I'm going to have to transition. And he did that in 2020. And that's, as you know yourself, Davey, as a manager, it's not easy.
No,
it's not an easy thing to do. So to put your trust into younger lads. But Horn during his throughout his career, he's done that, and he's put the trust in the younger lads, and they've repaid him. So it's to be honest, I fancy them to be Kildare this week. I think they're in a better place. I think Kildare I think Kildare would be in terms of, I think, to be better than they were against Dublin. I think the morale would be low, but they want to put in a shift for the county and have a bit of pride in the jersey. I think they're they're going to be more energetic and get hands on this time. But I just think Mayo, just athletically, I just probably think they have a better quality of footballer. Now, do I think Mayo can go further in the summer? That's obviously another question. But for this Saturday, what are you thinking, Jerry? There?
Yeah, but look, I'd agree with everything you're saying. Look at Monaghan. Well, first thing I would say is Monaghan and Mayo was a poor game in it. It was a poor game.
Yeah.
Two seasoned teams, but it was. This might even make sense. I thought it was a good poor game. I was intrigued by it. I was very interested in it. I thought it was very enjoyable to watch, but the standard was shite. Let's be honest. It was very, very poor. It went 20 minutes without a score or something like that. It was very poor. And Keegan's score was so monumentally important to that team.
Yeah.
And obviously come with the hour, come with the man. But on your running game, if you look at what Monaghan done, a very experienced management, very experienced team. Darren Hughes is a +1. That's standard. They always do that, right? But they put Ryan McAnespie from wing back to wing forward to tag McLaughlin. Right, that tells me, obviously, I know about McLaughlin, top class athlete, right? And he still caused damage, serious damage to Monaghan, right? And they had a tagger on him. If Kildare persist with Paul Cribben or Alex Byrne at 10 or 12 on Paddy Durkin or on McLaughlin, it's curtains. It's going to be absolutely curtains for that exact reason. So I'd be learning, like if I'll try to go out every day and find something, Enda, right? So I'd be taking what Monaghan done, right? Monaghan lost, fair enough, I know that, right? But Monaghan lost the game, but this is what they tried. They tried to tag him. Why did they tag him? Okay, they put a defender there for that reason. Okay, so I understand why they've done that. Do I go out and play all-out attack against this Owen McLaughlin and Paddy Durkin and Enda Hessian and Oisin Mullen? Here's a question for you though, right? We turn it all around. Kildare have 4 lethal forwards, and I don't know if the country respects, say, Dara Kerwin, Dan Flynn, Jimmy Hoyland, and Ben McCormick enough, right? Maybe they haven't done it enough at this level yet to get the respect outside the county, which is fair enough, maybe. But do you think there's any way that'll clamp Mullen, Hessian, and the boys down a bit? That Horn this week is thinking, Jesus, if we fucking bomb forward, they like minute after minute here, keep going, we get turned over, and we leave them boys, they're lethal, or will that cross their mind at all?
No, that's not his mantra. That's not his mindset at all, Jamie. It's literally, he'll have his matchups, and then it's put on the afterburners and see if they'll come after you. And if the Kildare setup isn't savvy enough to have a plan for that, Mayo's platform has always been our half back line and that springboard, that running game, which I haven't always agreed with. I think there has to be a balance. I think Robbie coming in the last day for us has been huge in terms of the transition he gives us. I think Mayo struggle. Like, it'll be interesting because teams, this obviously from your stint in inter-county management, Davy, but it'd be interesting when teams are going away slightly from the short kick out, as in keeping possession, because the reward of transitioning that ball with the long range, if you get the likes of Robbie the last day, there was 3 passes and there was a goal chance. If you like Robbie gives that to Mayo, that not every county in the country that has a goalkeeper like that, I'd probably say 4 or 5 top teams have that goalkeeper. So it'd be just interesting that he gives us that springboard. The way Mayo struggle is when they have to break down a blanket defence, we say a structured defence, and they really do struggle with that. They're great, high press. If we turn you over, it's curtains. If Robbie gets a long range kick out away, it's curtains as well. So it's just
to counter that, right? Just to counter, I 100% agree with you on the long ball now, and it'll take the club. You wait. Club will do this in 2 years' time. Clubs will all this summer still go short because they're always 2 years behind. You know that kind of way, right? So I 100% agree with you now because it's a risk reward thing. Ultimately, it's a goal chance. It's a goal chance if you get it away, essentially, right? And you see Soupy Campbell. We'll get on to that in a couple of minutes. Armagh had 2 clear-cut goal chances when they went over Tyrone's press, right? So that's that. But they you know, like the big thing with Kildare is Kevin Feely is probably, in my opinion, the best fielder of a ball. Now, just so I'm clear, the best fielder, not the best midfielder, the best fielder of a ball.
No, he's a good player. He's a good player. Yeah.
So, but his pair of hands, I haven't seen another man with a pair of hands like him, and his leap, right? If he gets on top of Henley there, right, you know what I mean? I know, obviously, Henley will try to keep it to the far wing. He'll try to keep it away from him. He'll try to do all that type of stuff, which I understand. But he's a fair man now to cause you problems in the middle too, in early, you know. And so that's a good counter Kildare will have under that, and they really target long ball because you know 1 or 2 long ones. Feely plucks a couple of marks, so Kildare got a couple of breaks. It works both ways, Enda. You know, it works both ways. If you're going long, obviously the reward is you getting a goal chance generally off first phase, right? But if you go long and lose the break, Kildare are gone. You know that kind of because you're wide open. Because you've your wing backs committing under the ball. You know that's how you're going to play. If you miss the break, Kildare win a break, you're wide open. So that's the risk reward, and you need the opposite side of the field. This is the key thing in presses. And the ball is the ball, and that's fine, right? We all overload and we all press and we do everything. It's the weak side of the field you need your smartest footballers on, because they're the guys that need to block the channels up. They know, and regardless of the result, I don't give a shit whether my team have won the ball or lost the ball. I need my fella who's the weak side of the field blocking up the 6, essentially. That's what we need here. And you see the well-coached teams will have that, and the poor coached teams who are imitating won't have it. And that's why they couldn't run through the middle of it.
Well, usually the communication between the wing forward and your wing back is key, because it's like a domino effect. They push each other over the pitch. The wing forward is never going to get to that top of the D from 60 yards away. So it's that communication is key. And as you said, the well-coached teams have that. The poorly coached teams don't know what they're doing. And to be honest with you, Davy, Kildare, the last day against Dublin, I don't know what they're trying to do. I hate being... I don't like hanging people out to dry or being critical, because I played the game myself. So obviously they'll have to sit down, and maybe it's a miscommunication. I don't know what went on, but they have to sit down before they play Mayo and get some sort of structure together, and so everyone's on the same page. Because it looked to me against Dublin, they didn't know what they're doing. Yeah.
I think right. Kildare have a massive decision to make, that management, because they're smart football people. They know, they know that wasn't right, obviously, right? They know they got it wrong or whatever happened, right? And it's personnel. They got to change the personnel. So, but what we have to be very careful in Kildare this time is that we don't fall between 2 stools. Because in fairness to the management, they've hung their hat on, we're going for this, okay? And they want to play, obviously, attacking brand of football. That's fine. So, you know, Enda, you're in the dressing room Tuesday week ago, right after the Dublin game. You do your video review and you say, okay, lads, we're going to change our 10, change our 12, change our 5, whatever it might be, put in more defensive-minded players. Someone will tag McLaughlin, someone will tag Muller, whatever it might be, right? And how then do you sell that in a short period of time to this group who you've been preaching to all year about attacking football and we're going to beat teams up front, we're so strong? And one other thing on it, right? And then how do you coach it? And how do you practice it and rehearse it in 2 weeks? And you know, you don't have 2 weeks, because the first week you're recovering. You know, you're not really doing much on the field, right? And you've got 3 or 4 max sessions to change your whole philosophy to now we're going to not park the bus, but we're going to be more defensive. Like, how do you get that done? And my fear is if we go too far the other way, we'll absolutely go out and do nothing because we're completely confused.
Yeah, but that's 8 months of training here. There's 6 months with them. Like, Jesus Christ, like that shouldn't be the case. I'm saying there's certain scenarios in the game where the players should know what to do. Like, for instance, obviously your own kick out, your opposition kick out, your transition from defense into attack. Like, if you get turned over, your wing backs, your 6 should know what they're doing. Are we all collectively pushing up as a unit? Is the midfielder tagging 11 and 6 can drop back, or stuff like that. It's not rocket science. It's just communication, huh?
Coaching.
Coaching. Yeah, absolutely.
It's simple as that. Like, there's 2 things: you either have the ball or you don't have the ball. And if I'm centre back or I'm full forward, it doesn't make a difference. My team have the ball, so now I should know what is expected of me right now because we have the ball at this position. Now, my team don't have the ball. Where should I be? What have I learned? What have I rehearsed? What's the plan? And it's simple. Like, it really is a simple game, Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not, when you go into Dublin and Croke Park, it's not that simple. That kind of way. It's not that simple at all. But I'm saying the idea, you're drawing a Monday morning, Enda. Doesn't really matter if you have your basic framework in place, like Mayo have, right? Your basic framework is there. This is how we play. Yes, we change our matchups. Yes, we do a different little plan. But ultimately, the way we play ain't going to change no matter who it is. And we'll die on that sword, that kind of way. And
we have.
But the Kildare team this year, as you said, 8 months of training, they don't seem to have that out-and-out structure or framework that they're working to. And that's my fear, that if they try change the attack one that they had, where do we go? Where do we go then,
So we'll call it. So we've 20 minutes on to talk about Kildare. We could go another 20 minutes here, I'd say. Yeah. Right, so you're calling. I'm going to call. I think Mayo will probably win by 5 or 6 points. I think Croke Park will suit us. I think athletically we've got the better athletes. I think there seems to be confusion in the Kildare setup. I think the fact that Dublin gave you a nice pace in the last day, morale won't be sky high, and that's going to be very, like, Glenn Ryan's going to earn his stripes here the last 2 or 3 weeks, trying to get that squad believing again and confidence. Because I know myself that after a pacing like that, obviously the whole country watching it, it's not going to do the confidence any good. Like, and that Kildare team, there's talent in that squad. Like, so that's the most frustrating thing here.
Yeah, and they will look. Mayo, I think I agree with you. Mayo will win the game by 4 to 6 points, I'd say, right? But Kildare will react. Kildare will be hurting. Very proud, serious ability.
Oh yeah,
New management in, legendary footballers. They will all react, right? And I'm certain they'll make changes, personnel changes. Will it be enough as quickly as that to change the plan? I don't think you can do it. I don't think anyone can do it that quickly to change the whole plan and change the philosophy. But I do think they'll react. They'll make the personnel changes. It'll be very, very competitive. But I think Mayo will overpower us and probably come out with 4 to 6 points.
Right, perfect. Next game is going to be Donegal. Yeah, Armagh Donegal. Right. What do you think?
Look, the big question for me here is can you beat the same team twice in the one championship? I think that's extremely, extremely tough to do. I think it's unfair to be meeting each other so soon. I think it's wrong. I think the structures are wrong on that front. We're not here to talk about structures, but I don't think it's fair on Donegal or Armagh, to be honest with you, to have to go at this again. It should have been, in my opinion, no repeat parents and redraw. That's what I would have went with. But anyway, So from my experience, Armagh would be certainties going off that, because you very, very rarely see two top teams going at it twice and get the same result, right? So that's my thing. But and I do think I'm going to give my prediction early. I think Armagh will win the game. Probably for a lot of the same reasons: morale, buzz, excitement, energy. I was listening to Aidan Forker the other day. Jesus, he's in cloud 9. All the rolling. I was in Donegal last weekend myself, as you know, and the morale wasn't great. Morale's not great in the towns. People aren't happy with the manager.
Banner house.
Yeah. I didn't say that. No, you said that, but the managers' union. So So look, I think Armagh will win, and we'll get into it now. One thing to continue on the first conversation, right? Kickouts again are going to go a long, long way to decide in this game, because they decided the first game when Donegal put McGee, McFadden, Thompson, and Langan across the middle. Right, Rafferty just could not get out point blank. They took the short away from him, put the 4 monsters across the middle, and then it was game over. Literally, they could not get out past that. So, what do you think, or how do you think? Surely Kieran Donaghy, Geezer, McKeever have a plan for this?
Well, it's look, when you get into Croker, it's a different ball game.
This Clonus.
Oh, is it Clonus?
Yeah.
Oh, bollocks! Right.
Yeah.
I'm not as sure now. Right. Yeah. Oh, all right. Clonus. Jesus. That's changing my bloody thinking here now. Yeah, big time. I was going to say, like Donegal style of play does not suit Croke Park. Like Armagh are a kicking team. They're like they transition the ball quicker. Donegal against Derry would, it nearly made me cry, to be honest, looking at it. Like they have such talented forwards, and like they transition it so very slow. Murphy's back behind 6. Like it's just. I just like they've done this style now for 8 years. Yes, they've got to Ulster finals, but they haven't breached the top 3 in the country. They haven't got near All-Ireland since 12. Or sorry, when they were in 14, obviously, but since 14 they haven't got near it. That style of football is like there has to be a balance. Like with this Donegal team, it's literally just a pure running game. They barely kick the ball. So it's just. Now, since you said it was in Clones, like that's gonna obviously there's gonna be a reaction from the Donegal squad, and it'll be interesting. Like that's gonna be a close game now. I'm not too sure how to call that one, to be honest, since it's in Clones.
Yeah, again, it's going to be an absolute dogfight again, down to the wire. A mistake could settle it. I just think Armagh's confidence, massive win over the All-Ireland champions. Now, that was in the athletic grounds. They have to go to Clones now and on neutral territory. And, I just think the momentum with Armagh, they look dangerous inside with Nugent. I thought Rian O'Neill gave an exhibition the last day as regards game management, as regards a quarterback, his kick passing, his range, his fisted score. Andrew Murnan done the same thing to keep this scoreboard moving. But Rian, if you notice, stood over every ball. So when Armagh got in front, it was a clear message to me that we ain't giving this away here. And Rian took every free, whether it was a 21-yard free or a free on the far 21. He was over it, and he was making sure it was 100% going to be, they kept 100% possession. So they're very well coached, this Armagh team. Whereas flip it around, I think Donegal looks stale. I think it's a year too long for the management. I think a change is needed. They're negating Ryan McHugh, Owen Bon Gallagher, probably their 2 best players. Their style is taking them out of the game. I think at the minute, particularly the Derry game, they just took their two of their strongest potent weapons out of the game. So I just think Bonner and co are just lost in a myriad of trouble in their own heads. Can't articulate probably what they really want to the group, and you've seen the outcome of that on the field, and it's not good. It's really not good.
Well, it's like the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's like, again, obviously an Ulster title is huge. Don't get me wrong here. But like, if I'm coming back into that setup, I'm not sure how long Bonner is there for now. Probably 4th, 5th year. Yeah. But there has to be some kind of newness each year. You're bringing something new to the setup. Yeah, like it's, as you said, it seems to be gone stale here, and it's just like they've tried to, like that. The style of Donegal has not changed. No. They barely kick the ball anymore. I'd love to know the stat of how many times they actually kick the ball in a game. They don't transition the ball. It's like, I know, look at the last day, Derry, obviously Ulster teams, sometimes they let them have the kick out. But like, Jesus, some cases there you can transition it faster than that. You can get the kick out a bit quicker than that. Like, you can get it off the field.
Why not? I know the last day, right? They were set up to mirror Derry. Fair enough, right? I have to say now, I was on this with Shane that week, and I said this is the way to set up, because look at Tyrone, look at all of them. All of them were the same. So they didn't want to fall into the trap that Monaghan and Tyrone fell into. I understood why they set up like that, but why didn't they at least have a cut, put Murphy inside and let a few in? Or 2, why didn't they press a kick out on a restart, on a free?
Yes.
On a score? Yes. Why didn't they try anything? There was no aggression. They didn't get any hard runners. Peter Mogan was probably the exception to the whole lot. They didn't really go after the game at all, which was frustrating, painful. It was painful because, honestly, I don't think Derry are as good as everyone thinks they are. They're a very well coached team. And they're absolutely maxing their resources. They're maxing everything they have, right? They're brilliant. They're, in fairness to them, right? Brilliantly coached. But I think they're going to get some land in Croke Park, personally. They're going to get some land playing that muck in Croke Park, to be honest with you, against a Division 1 team. Against even an Armagh, a Kerry, a Dublin, a Mayo, I think they'll get an awful land in Croke Park, to be honest with you, because it just doesn't work. They played awfully 2 years or a year ago in the Division 3, am I right here? Division 3 league final, played them a year ago, and Offaly, they beat them by 6 or 7 points, but Offaly scored, kept them with it, like, that's Offaly we're talking about. Imagine them Dublin with that crack, like, it just doesn't work anymore. So like what we're saying, Derry have to progress on now. Donegal have to progress on now. Donegal haven't progressed on. They're stuck in the dark ages. It's a stale environment, I'd imagine. They're negating their best players. I'd say it's a drain end, and we probably both been in camps that turn into this. They turn into this. Oh, fuck, training again tonight. Oh, no, Jesus. The motorway, the traffic. You wouldn't notice it when things are going well. You just drift down the road. And
especially the squad, Davy, as in the squad of players in Donegal, the turnover doesn't seem to be that high, as in, like, I'm not saying transition the whole team here, but, like, I don't. There always seems to be probably the 18 players, even that freshness, as you said, come to training. If the second 15 of a squad don't genuinely feel that they have a chance of breaking into a match day squad or breaking into the team, well, then you're pissing against the wind here. Let's be totally honest here. And without that second 15 pushing the first 15 on, well, the first 15, like, it's, as I said to you before, it's like a virus. It's like, it's coasting, exactly. So it's doing no one any good. Like, so it's just.
Now, the one we will say is Donegal club football, Enda, is cat. It's absolutely cat. The standard of it's 15 behind the ball, and they have not progressed on. It is a shocking standard of football. And there's some really, really talented, like the top four, Eunans, Glenkeys, Guido, and Kildare are four good teams, right good teams. But they all play the same way. They all mirror each other, and it's cat. And then you wonder why. So maybe Bonner's been sold the pup by his clubs, because the lads that are coming into him only know one thing. They only know one thing, and that's to sit on. And it's cat now. And I would rate, but you might know him better than me, but I would rate Rochford as a decent tactician. And at least, the mad stuff with Aidan O'Shea full back and whatever, right? At least he tries. At least, he has a go. The Donegal aren't doing anything at the minute. They're not doing anything. Right? Maybe you disagree.
He must be getting a pile of money, because his philosophy is the complete opposite to what Donegal are playing. Yeah. I'm not like Steve Rochford is a kicking coach. He's a kicking style. That's his philosophy. And what Donegal are doing, like, I'd love to see him in training, because he's actually going against everything he's known for.
There's obviously some carrot bringing him up the road anyway.
Honest to God, I really and look. And I think we both agree here. There's very good players in Donegal. It's just from my own point of view, it's just frustrating looking at the team. I think there's more in them in terms of their style of play. And I know, look at Nathan Mullins, obviously a club mate of mine in Vincent's, and he was with Donegal in 17. It's just, as you said there, it's just bred into them, that style of football. And I was half messing. Well, I wasn't messing with them. I was like, what's the story with you? Like, you never bloody kick the ball. Like, you don't transition. You're slow as Christmas transition the ball. And he's just like, he just kind of smirked and said, I know. It's just the way, the style of play up there. That's just the way they know it. That's it.
It's awful. I really, from being there, I really think the public want them to go after this now. And the Armagh will go after this. Like, Armagh are well stuck. If you watch last weekend, they played 13 behind the ball early on, right? Tyrone were 15. They had McCurry working the line. McCurry was working the ball carrier, right? And they 14 after him. Whereas Armagh had 13 inside their own half, but they left Nugent and Reen up front early on now, right? Early on, they left. And so why you nailed it? They're a kicking team. When they turn you over, they want an outlet. They want to kick the ball forward, right? Whereas Tyrone, no interest in that. Get 15 behind the ball, turn you over, run the ball, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So similar to Donegal, that it just, for me, that's gone. It doesn't work anymore. I think teams are too athletic. Teams are too well set up now. I don't think anybody leaves themselves with 60 meters of space, maybe with the exception of one team we mentioned earlier. I don't think too many other teams leave themselves with big gaping holes behind them anymore.
Maybe Mayo.
Or maybe their opposition, So look, I just think it's going to be I love these games, and I'm probably into the dark, not the dark. I'm really going to look forward and enjoy this game in Clonus, full crowd. I love watching how defense is set up. I love watching kick-out presses. I love watching the timing of things. So why are they pressing now? Why do they feel now's the time to go? Or what's that in reaction to? Whereas I don't think the general public maybe understand that, and they're just sitting there going, oh, it's all basketball. And I agree with them. It's all lateral shite and whatever you're doing, right, to draw the defense out. But there is key moments when stuff happens in games, and I don't think the Colin O'Rourke's of this world maybe can understand that. That's why they're in the studios kind of saying it's awful muck, isn't it? And fine, there is times when it's awful muck, but what about the interesting parts of it? What about the tactical nous and the tactical ability that they had to bring Brendan Rodgers out the field, to run Murphy into the ground. Why don't people regard that as a serious tactical masterstroke and then flip it around that Donegal made a massive error on the line by not putting Murphy into 14 to take Rodgers out of the game, take his transition out of the game, and then all of a sudden he contributed to 2 massive scores. Did he kick 2 and got Glass's score, right?
2, yeah.
So all of a sudden now, right, you know, put Murphy edge of the square, at least one of them 3 scores is gone. At least one of the 3 scores, because he ain't going to leave him, or if he's transitioning from there, and it's 140 meters he's transitioning. If he's transitioning from midfield, it's 70 meters. You know what I mean? Like, so that was a tactical stroke, and Derry got the tactics right, and Donegal got it wrong. And that's what I love. That's what I'm looking for, you know?
Well, I think the word you're looking for there is analysis from the RTE studio.
Yeah. Maybe that's that. So
too much ads now. Come on. I'm gonna go. I'll go Armagh by 2 or 3. I'd say I'll go Armagh, just as you said, Christopher Wave. You know, even that. You know what? They're obviously more entertaining to watch. Even Raftery coming out the goalie. That's obviously it's not a new tactic, but he's a forward. He's a forward in the club setup, in the club scene. Like, so it's obviously another tactic coming to fruit, and teams will start, you know, progression. They'll start to do that in a couple of years' time as well, or in the future. So he scored two dingers.
But the big thing with it, and I agree with you, and I back up your prediction, I'll go with the very same Armagh by a goal or less. But on Rafferty, right? And teams are doing it all the time. But you see, Rafferty was turned over, but Conor Mackin was on the line. Armagh have a plan for this. Like, whereas say Monaghan and them, when Began goes, I know I don't know the answer to this, but they don't seem to have the same strict plan that we have a man on the line. You know, it seems to be a bit looser in my book.
Yeah.
You know? So again, is that coaching? You know, that kind of way probably is. So I would just, you know, that's just something. I think Armagh will win it in a tight game. Yeah.
Hold on, there's a comment here, Jamie. Should there be provincial protection in the back door? Since the back door came in 2001, there's been 57 all Ulster games outside the provincial championship, 49 Leinster, 13 all Munster. Jesus. Hold on. So and seven all Connacht ties. So this is obviously to do with bringing teams outside the province. Obviously the cost of fuel and the cost of bloody hotels in Dublin is an absolute joke.
Yeah.
So should there be provincial protection? I don't know. What's your opinion with that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I know what the squads want to do. I know what the teams where they want to play. It's obviously they want to play in Croke Park.
But here's the question for Enda. Do they want to play in Croke Park this Saturday evening? Do Mayo want to play Kildare in Croke Park, do you think, this Saturday evening?
Yeah, they do.
Will there be 25,000 there?
There'll be 40.
Oh Jesus! I'd say every Rossi and every Clare man will leave, or at least half them will leave.
Yeah. The Rossis definitely leave already.
Right. So there won't be 40.
Like Kildare, Mayo, Kildare are fanatics. There's bad as Mayo.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't quite at the same numbers. I'd say they're fanatical, but don't forget now we're low. We're dented here. You know, our confidence is dented. Morale is low. Yeah. The last thing anyone wants to see is, you know, that again. You know, no, don't get me wrong.
What was the attendance at the Leinster final? Do you know?
I actually don't know that, but I don't know that. I would doubt it was over 30, 35, was it?
Yeah. It wasn't. It didn't look to be that full.
So you think players do want to play there regardless of the size, regardless of the numbers?
It's just from a Mayo point of view, I know the way they're thinking. Aspirations for later on in the summer, they want to get as much game time in Croker as possible. It's the pitch. It's a wide open pitch. It suits the Mayo team better than Castlebar or fucking the Hyde Park or someone. So, and you know yourself, if this game was in Kildare's home venue, geez, what is
Newbridge.
it? Newbridge, sorry, Newbridge or nowhere. Jeez, how did I forget that? Newbridge, I'd be second guessing myself here, to be honest. Yeah. Because
like if this was in Newbridge, right, it's going to be very similar to the Clonus game. Like I can tell you where I would prefer to be from an atmosphere, from a competition, tackling, from a physicality. I'd much prefer to be in Clonus now, and I'd much prefer to be in Clonus this weekend than be in Croker this weekend. Because you're going to get a real sense of occasion, a real hard hitting physicality, dirt, off the ball, struggles. You know what you're going to get. Brilliant. I love that. Whereas in Croker, you don't get that until you've 60,000+ there. You just don't get the engagement at all. And that's the issue I would have with it. And you're right. If the game is in Newbridge, it'll be 50-50, I think. One last question for you before we... Will Mayo get better week on week? Do you think like they usually do in the qualifiers? Or is this the same group? Are they capable of getting better week on week?
I think, no, to be honest, Eddie, they needed that 6 weeks. The league final... And it's very like Kildare coming into the Saturday. Mayo were wounded after the league final. They got absolutely pasted by Kerry by 15 points, whatever it was. Yeah. Like I don't care what Horn says after the game. Or we've moved on. Yeah, you may have moved on, but the players probably haven't moved on. Like it's who wants to get absolutely hockeyed, in Croker for a league final? And they trained the Friday night before that league final, and by all accounts, it was a fairly tough session. And for the life of me, like I just don't understand. There's a national title up for grabs here on Sunday, and you're training hard on a Friday night. And I know, look, a championship was it 2 or 3 weeks?
I think it was
3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks.
But Galway were out the same weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So I just look at, and then they came into the Galway game. Injuries, morale was probably, confidence. I'm not going to say morale. Confidence was low. Was probably a bit low. So yeah, that definitely affects them against Galway. But I think Horn is very good, regrouping the squad, getting everyone together, getting it. He needed the boys to come back. The likes of Paddy Durkin, Owen McLaughlin was carrying knocks. Oisin Mullen was carrying a hammy. There's 5. John Flynn obviously didn't come back, but he's coming back. There's 5 or 6 of them there out of the squad, that were carrying knocks and injured. So if they get a fully fit squad, well then yes, I think they will improve week on week.
You need Ryan O'Donoghue back. I think you're light inside. I think Carney and Carr are better off the bench. I'd say, in my opinion now. I think you're light inside. I think 1 to 12, you've as good as anyone, I'd say, or very, very close to it. Anyway, very, very close to being as good as there is in the country. I think you're light after that, and I can see it coming back to haunt you. Like as we said last week, there was a long period of time where you could not execute, you could not shoot, could not find the range, and that won't work, in my opinion. Further down the line, that won't be good enough. So it'd be interesting.
As in, you're saying against Monaghan, they couldn't execute like it was, as in, yeah.
And Monaghan couldn't capitalize on it. For me, Monaghan, it's like this for Monaghan. Monaghan should have won the game, in my opinion. I thought they should have won the game. McManus black card changed the whole game. It was a black card. He tripped them. 1-3 came off that. Fine, right? But that was that. But Monaghan had ample opportunity, and Mayo kept Monaghan in the game, and he had ample opportunity to punish Mayo's, shortcomings, and they couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it, right? And ultimately, the penalty shouts and all that's all fine, but you had time in 70 minutes to win the game. You had enough opportunities, and you couldn't do it. So that's what I'm saying. It was a very good, poor game, in my opinion. That kind of way. It was.
Do you think it was a penalty at the end?
At Stonewall. I think it was a Stonewall penalty. Yeah.
Did you?
Look, I know we went down easy. I know all that. Keegan put his 2 arms around him. His 2 arms, you can't. That's not a tackle, as you know. You have 2 arms around him in the box. If you watch Robbie Henley, right? Robbie Henley was the closest man to the 2 of them, right? And you see his body language in the video. Like Robbie, he nearly throws the hands, throws the head, as if to say, Jesus, that kind of way. Why did we? And then you just see him. Geez, we got away with one there. And the body language would tell me he was the closest man to the incident. I don't know. Yeah. And how Barry Cassidy didn't give it. Jesus, surely you give that call.
It actually showed in the Sunday game that it actually, for once, they did some analysis that Keegan, his foot actually, his foot tripped him. He actually, they're slagging him off, saying why the hell he was looking for it, but he actually couldn't move because Keegan actually stood on his foot, so that's why he went down so easily.
That is
yeah.
So look, it was a penalty. The foot block was no foot block. Now my understanding of the rule, it needs to be, if the separation is not a foot block. I don't know if that's clear in the rule book or not. But
you're saying which foot block? You're saying which?
No. The Mayo penalty, in my opinion, was a penalty. In my opinion,
yeah.
The Monaghan shout for a foot block penalty. In my opinion, wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it was a block. So I'd say people are sick to death hearing us talking about Mayo anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Go on, we'll move on. We'll wrap up.
We'll get on to the Rossies.
Yeah,
Rossies and Clare, right? So just on For me, it's a lot more straightforward here. I think this one should be a lot more straightforward. I think Roscommon are a decent outfit. I think they've really improved. I think Anthony Cunningham's done an excellent job and a long time in the job. Brand new management ticket around him this year, which is very hard to do from experience. Fair play to him on that. And he's got a group of really good attacking side, I'd say. There's question marks, big question marks over their defence and their defensive ability. And I think, bring it back to Carl Heenan, Dermot Murta, I think their balance isn't right. I don't think they really care too much at this stage about that, to be honest with you. I think they'll win this game, and I think they could win it by 6, 7, or 8 points, to be honest with you. I think they could. Clare last weekend against Meath, it looked to me, the bits I watched of it, like two teams who were at the end of their season, two teams who were happy enough maybe that this was, might be coming to an end soon. And for all the good work Colin Collins has done, I'm not sure that's reflective today in the output from this Clare team. How do you see it?
I agree with pretty much everything you said there. You're talking probably, I'd expect Roscommon to, is this in Cork? This is in Cork, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Roscommon have athletically, I think they're better athletes, better footballers. I think I actually know one of the coaches, Luke Bree, which on the coaching panel, our coaching set up this year. So I'll be in touch with him a bit. Like he great, by all accounts, it's a great squad. Really, really good attitude in there. I think Roscommon have more aspirations than Clare. They want to go as far as they can, as you said there. I think Clare are happy enough to kind of get to these kind of mid to latter stages. Yeah, exactly, and they're happy enough to bow out. And I just think, with Croker, Roscommon have good forwards. Like they've a decent squad. I think, the Galway game the last day with them, I think they're unlucky in some stages. I know Galway went traditional. They were on about the kick out before. Like they went long a good bit, and that forced the Roscommon kind of forced to lay off they went the balance between short and long, and it worked very well for them. And they got a couple, they transitioned very well out of that. So, I think Roscommon by probably 6, 7 points. I think to be pulling up by the end, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they will. One point for you on the standard of football. Where do you think this? I think if my maths are right, there's 4 Munster teams in the last 12. Am I right? There's Cork, Limerick, Clare, and Kerry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's probably not. It's probably better than Leinster, as it probably is at the minute. Maybe better than Leinster. We'll see. Right. I don't know if it is or not. I actually don't know. Yeah. Right. There's 4 Munster teams in the top 12 in the country. That tells, I'd love to hear your opinion on, because that tells me football's not in a good state. Like that tells me that there's a clear top 2, 3 teams in this country, and the rest are all long way off. If there's 4 Munster teams in the top 12, I don't know what you think of that.
That's been like this for what 7 years, like, or whatever it is, like. Football, geez, it's been a hard sell now. Gaelic football the last probably 6 or 7 years. Like even you're on about the Munster teams there. You saw the pace in Mayo gave Tipperary in the semi-final. Was it 2 years ago? Or was it 2 years ago? It was, yeah. Like, I agree with you. I think like for the Meads, like the traditional counties, like the Meads, the Kildares, who else you're looking for? Like Connacht is in a decent state. Ulster is in decent state, but again, they're not like you're talking. Dublin and Kerry are probably the we're waiting for Kerry to come, and like I think this year Jack O'Connor they will probably win it. But like Mayo have probably slipped slightly off the top 2. But then from there on, I still think Mayo are streets ahead of Galway getting into Croke Park. Still think they're streets ahead of Roscommon getting into Croke Park.
Armagh, maybe.
Armagh, maybe, but Donegal, absolutely not. Derry, I agree with you. I think they've had their All-Ireland. I think that's been kind of, everything's a bonus after this. I don't think they'll do what they do, but I don't think they'll challenge for an All-Ireland.
You know what happens, right? I think the Ulster Championship gets this reputation that it's unreal, and it's unreal. As I said, I'd much prefer to be
competition. It's competitive.
It's an unbelievably competitive championship.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the best quality. Yeah, it's not
no.
That's why I think Derry are in trouble. Now I'm only talking about proper Division 1, Dublin, Kerry, maybe Mayo. I'm talking about the top here now. If they try to play that style against the top teams, when they're more athletic, more physical, more aggressive, and better forwards, it just won't work. You just won't work. So
you won't win Northern in Croke Park
no.
With the running game. You won't. There has to be some sort of balance to it. Yeah, Croke Park's a kicking pitch. It is, when you're out in that pitch, it is absolutely huge.
Massive.
So it's just you can't transition the ball quick enough, and your skill set, it's a skill set pitch. If your skill set is off, well, it's going to show up on that pitch. You'll get away with the tighter grounds, whereas athletically you'll be able to get up and down that pitch a lot quicker because it's obviously smaller. But everything, the light is shown when you're coming into Croke Park, and you won't get away with it.
Yeah. So we're both on Roscommon to win, half cozy. I think. Last game for this weekend, then Cork v Limerick. How do you take that away there?
Someone said to me, Cork had to beat Louth and Limerick to get into a quarter-final. It's not a quarter-final. It's not a bad path to get. But I would fear. I obviously think Cork are going to beat them, but I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be a hammering, because I don't rate that Cork that highly. I think they're in trouble. It depends what kind of team they get in the quarter-final. But geez, if they got a Dublin, I'd fear for them. If they got a Kerry, I'd fear for them in Croker as well. Any of the top teams, I would fear for them. So look, I think, and don't get me wrong, they are starting from ground zero, from last year's pasting against Kerry. They seem to be transitioning the squad and the team quite well. And look, they're at ground zero, and they're obviously building it up but we won't know how good that transition is until year 2, year 3 into it. So they'll get to a quarter final here. They'll be happy enough with that, and then next year they'll be building again from this winter onwards.
Yeah, and that's bang on. And John Cleary taking over from Keith, who had to step away mid-season. They steadied the ship, and look, against Kerry, they've done a reasonable shift for 40, 45 minutes, whatever it was, and kept it to 12 or 13 points. And look, and again, beat Louth. They'd more than likely beat Limerick. I have a lot of time for Billy Lee. I think he's done a huge job down there. But he's gotten to Division 2. They've got their run out now. They've beaten Clare in Ennis. Huge day out, I'd imagine. Huge day out in Championship, beating Clare and Ennis on penalties. So I think, to be honest with you, Limerick are nearly at that stage like that as well. Sean Powder, I think, is an injury doubt, which is a big loss now.
Yeah.
Big loss. But Cork should have enough. But again, really, it's nearly a case, though, Enda. Do you want to win this game? You go in this game, you go up against Dublin, Kerry, whoever, Galway or Derry, is it? Yeah, I think that's right, yeah? You go up, do you really want, they can't play Kerry. So you get Dublin, Derry or Galway. I'm just not sure. You know yourself, there's a key moment in the year when, if you look at the lower levels, the likes of Leitrim got to a semi-final or a quarter-final there at the Talton Cup, right? And they play London, and they play Sligos and these teams. But they never played a big team, and they got no pasting. They got no pasting. They were very competitive in all their games all year. Brilliant. Yeah. Whereas, was it Sligo or was it Lund? Who was it? Someone had to go, and they got an awful hiding, and morale through the floor. But they're at the same stage in the championship then again. So sometimes you always want to win a game. Don't get me wrong here. You always want to win, and you always want to progress and move on. A championship win is huge. But behind the scenes, you win this game, you draw Dublin and Croke Park. Oh God, you know what I mean? What? That's, no one wants to see that.
No, and I think they'd be competitive apart from if they got Dublin. I think Dublin would open them up. But again, Davy, I suppose if you're a new management team coming in there, you want to go up against the best. And probably year one wouldn't be ideal, but you have to have a kind of yardstick to go off. How far are we off here? And then look at you kind of assess and plan for the winter then, and see who's it's a squad game obviously, and you have to build from somewhere. But yes, I do agree with that. It would be ideal coming up against Dublin and a year one of a building project. But then again, losing to Limerick is not exactly what you want either. So it is what it is. I'm afraid it's just I think we're both on the same page. We think Cork will win it probably. Well, I'd say 4 to 5 points. Cork should probably win this game by, I think. They should. One comment here: how the hell is Roscommon versus Clare in Croker with the cost of venue for supporters, etc.? I give you an answer to that, Joseph, because Jay just don't give a shit.
Corporate boxes, the bars, And that's why it's in Croke Park. That's the simple.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So one other thing before we go, the Tyrone defensive the All-Ireland Enda, or lack of maybe. What's your take on it?
My take on this, I just think probably look at 6 players walked away earlier on in the season. I think they probably, now I don't want to be disrespectful here, because they bet Kerry and they bet Mayo and they're well worth their All-Ireland.
Yeah.
But I suppose that squad of players, they've been knocked on the road since 18, and maybe some of them are, and it only takes a few players to be happy enough of where they are, and that can feed into the squad. With 6 players walk away from the squad, I was kind of thinking at the start of the year, or when that was happening, that doesn't seem right to me. If you're coming back to try and retain Sam, everyone should be on the same page, biting at the bit to go here again. So it just didn't feel right from the start. And it's very disappointing in terms of, that kind of, if I was a player in that squad, like that team, I'd be very disappointed, and just, they went out, very, very soft, as in, like, they didn't really put up much of a fight in terms of, the All-Ireland champions. You're usually talking a semi-final stage, the year next after that. So it's just, obviously there's something going on in the inner circle that we don't know about. And I suppose the boys, Dooher and Lauren, will have a job for the winter. They'll obviously get their third year, but I'm not going to say they're going to be under pressure next year or year 3, but if the same thing happens again now, there's obviously something going on there that we don't know about. Because 6 lads walking away from the squad tells me that
There's issues.
There's definitely issues there, and maybe look at after when Drew and Lauren came in after Mickey Hart, it was probably a
bounce.
Bounce, feel good factor. Mickey was probably there 3 years ago. I don't know. He was too long. He was too long. And that's not, like, people get very kind of upset when you say, well, a manager should have won. It's not personal. It's just everyone has a life cycle, and that life cycle just it just comes to an end, and it's just kind of natural. And players respond to different voices, and Mickey obviously a serious servant to Tyrone football, and obviously
some managers stay too long, and it's like anything. The way you can some advice I was given by my mother a long time ago, like, if you think you found the right woman or partner or whatever it might be, make sure you go on holidays with her on her own for 2 weeks and stay in one hotel room, the 2E, for the 2 weeks in the middle of Portugal or somewhere, because by the end of the 2 weeks, it'll make or break you. Like, you'll really know, you'll really know if you can put up with this one every morning. That kind of way.
Put a baby in the mix there as well, David.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, and we all don't get on with each other, so there's a shelf life for everybody, and the same voice gnaws away at you sometimes. And again, when things are good, but after a while, that's why you keep shuffling the back room. That's why you keep getting fresh voices in and different coaches. Yeah. But ultimately, even doing all that, there's still a shelf life for all that at the end of the day. And you can see this happening time and time again in a lot of counties, that they just stay an extra year and they do damage to what they've done previous. Yeah. People have very short memories. They like to throw on that man is the best ever, probably. And look what he's done in Loud, in Division 2. Away from. So he doesn't know, but you're still right what you're saying. He stayed too long. There's no two ways about that,
Yeah, even the likes like Jim Gavin obviously stayed there, and he was there in 13, stayed there for probably 8 years. He obviously, but he was winning. Like, there's a difference. Yeah. If you're consistently winning, there's no comparison here. And even Jim knew it was time for him to go. As in, like, after the 5 in a row, he did what he wanted to do and let someone else take the reins and let them go at it. Like, so, and even by all accounts with the 5 in a row team, it was, it was coming to a natural end. Like, lads were, and it was, that team
so military.
Yes, yeah. And they needed a new voice, and Jim probably knew that. So,
just to define the Tyrone point, it was on, the writing was on the wall early with the departures from the squad. There's clearly issues in the background. Lads got their medal. Did they decide to walk away? Fair enough. They rest on the birds. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they should have, as you said, they should get to an All-Ireland semi-final before these are really exposed, and they were exposed way too early, too often. Fermanagh exposed them, Derry exposed them, and Armagh knocked them out too early, too often, and that's just a poor way to try back up your All-Ireland. But and I think that's where we leave it.
That's it, chat, man. Cheers, Davey. Thanks for the chat. Appreciate it. Thanks, lads. Cheers. Bye.